eyes of a ranger, the unsuspecting stranger had better know the truth of wrong from
David, if you do that again, I will slap you with Judaism. I keep my pin strong. Anyway, welcome to another edition of the email. The audio-visual edition, obviously. Once again, without subtitles. Take that, deaf people.
Bitches.
Anyway.
That was a long book.
It was a long book. I'm surprised you had the fortitude to read through the entire thing while sitting in that chair. We've actually been here for several hours. Most of the time, as you saw, David was trying to figure out how to sit in these chairs. They apparently have some strange effect on him. I'm not entirely sure what. We actually had to bolt him down.
When they tell you to assume the position, it just... They need more direction than that.
You know what happens? Don't believe them with that, because you know what happens when you assume. That's right. Same thing that happened to Galileo. You get persecuted by the Catholics. Anyway, we've got a good number of things to talk about today. Obviously, there's a lot that's been going on since our last email. Visual, audio, email, this.
Digital quality.
Yes, digital quality.
But poor digital quality.
Gotta start somewhere. Anyway, it went out, so we will have yet another...
Baseball wasn't a game in the 18th century.
I don't know if he learned that from Dostoevsky, but that is fairly impressive. There's all kinds of things going on in the world. The war against arthropods continues. There's yet another small, turbulent country in the Balkans. Other than that, everything's just fine. Anyway.
Hey, it's always fun to have someone to bomb.
Indeed. This has nothing to do with bombing, but I think that's actually a very good segue. Right here, I have something I consider to be of great import. Not only for me, but for humanity.
The piece of paper?
Yes. The paper was a very important invention, but more importantly, what is on this particular piece of paper. This, my friends...
Ink?
Is the list... Actually, it's not ink, it's, whatever. Pencil.
Graphite?
Graphite, there we go. I was going to say lead, but I knew I was wrong.
That's in the paint.
Paint? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I like to eat the paint. Anyway, this is the list of animals that I think need to be eaten, particularly by me. See, it has many interesting things. Pandas! Chinchillas, elephant shrews, elephant seals, elephants, communists, squirrel monkeys, and Fyodor Dostoevsky. You know what, I'm not going to ask, but I'd like to make a special note of... Notice that when I say pandas, it's different than when I say something like elephant shrews, which are very good to eat, I'm sure, but pandas has a special emphasis. That's because pandas, at least as far as this list is concerned...
in China.
Yes, they are in China, but more importantly, there is an exclamation point. And you know why?
The man can read.
Thank you.
I'll give him that.
But you might wonder, Andrew, why is there an exclamation point after pandas?
Andrew, why is there an exclamation point after pandas?
Well, okay, I'm going to start off right here and say that I might get abducted again for this by the Chinese. You guys know what I'm talking about. I'm sure you do. You know what I'm talking about, right?
I know what you're talking about.
They know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about.
They know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about.
I got kidnapped by the Chinese. That was fun. Not really.
Even the Vietnamese know what you're talking about.
Even the Vietnamese do know what I'm talking about, and that is impressive. But
what's even more impressive, the Chinese people know what you're talking about.
Every single one of them. Anyway, the reason that, you know what, I'm just going to leave out the exclamation point for now, because I'm sure the audio signature of this is already wacky as hell. So, the pandas, you may wonder why they are exclamation point, I don't know, why they have an exclamation point, but the pandas have an exclamation point because I would like you to look at this panda. Did you take a good, long look at it?
Into its eyes.
Into its eyes, into its very soul.
Its brain.
Its brain? Okay, that's a little weird, but into its soul. I was going to say,
think soul
into
is
its
more...
Yeah, soul is weirder.
Animals don't have souls.
But the point is, you look at that animal, you look at that panda, and you tell me that it is not delicious. Alright? You look me straight in the eye and tell me that pandas are not good to eat.
Pandas are...
See what I mean? You can't do it. Because I think deep down inside, we all know that they are delicious, and that they are juicy and tender.
God
and
damn right they are.
And everything good that a meat should ever be. But you know what? They know it too. And they're like, if you've seen Seinfeld, the soup Nazi, they say, no, you can't have our meat.
Maybe that's why they don't reproduce.
Exactly. They are conspiring against us. The Pandal bastards are not letting us eat them. You know what?
It's a pandemic.
But they are specifically doing this on purpose so that we cannot eat them. And that's the point I'd like to make to you. And I think that needs to stop. We need to, clone them or something, because by the time I'm 30, I want to have eaten at least one panda.
God.
At least one panda. And, I'm willing to settle for a red panda. I'm willing to settle for one of those little things. But
it's more like a skunk.
But you know what? It's a panda, and I want to eat it.
I guess that in the end, its genus says panda somewhere.
Exactly.
Somewhere in the Latin.
It's close to a panda than, say, most of the other things I've eaten, squirrels, kangaroos, crocodiles, bears. Actually, I haven't eaten any bears, but I wish I had eaten bears earlier in my life. I was a wilder child back in the glory days, 7th grade, when I was very violent. Sorry.
I feel you. I feel you.
Weird trips I was going down there now. And this was completely not chemically enhanced. Not chemically enhanced. But the point is, I think that, nature is getting a little bit out of control, and we need to slap some sense back into it.
With the hand and the teeth. And
the pimp hand must remain strong. That is what I'm telling you guys. You see, the nature thinks it can just do whatever it wants. Nature is calling me. And you know what it's saying? You know what, nature? Screw you! Alright? Screw you, nature.
Goddamn
because
nature.
I don't care what you say. Pandas are delicious. And I'm going to eat them. And you can tell God I said that. Alright?
God knows.
God knows I want to eat those pandas.
God knows he wants to eat those pandas.
Exactly.